In this educational video, we will be discussing coral bleaching and what you, as a regular citizen, could do to help reduce the risks of coral bleaching from occurring.
What are corals? They are fascinating animals. The coral reef is mostly made up of stony coral. They produce a rigid skeleton which is made of calcium carbonate, which is called limestone. They have both plant and mineral components, the mineral component being the skeleton. The stony coral is made up of hundreds and thousands of individual polyps that are cemented together by the limestone. Coral polyps have a symbiotic relationship with unicellular algae, the zooxanthellae. They provide the coral with 90 to 95% of food and energy through photosynthesis. Coral reefs are considered to be the rainforest of the sea. They cover about 0.1% of the ocean surface, yet they harbor large amounts of marine biodiversity. They are mostly found around the tropics, meaning around the equator, because reef-building corals require warmer ocean temperatures, around 20 to 28 degrees Celsius. And reef development is generally in waters that are subject to currents and waves, because they bring nutrients and oxygen to the corals, what they need for survival. And they are found at about 46 meters deep, and that is because they need sunlight to penetrate to the waters, so the zooxanthellae can do photosynthesis. Why are coral reefs important? Coral reefs provide us with many ecosystem services, such as food. About 130 countries are dependent on the food they gain from the coral reefs. They provide us as well with livelihoods such as recreation, fishing, and tourism. Coast protection, they act as a first barrier to incoming waves towards land, reducing the impacts of waves on the coastline, but also biodiversity, such as biogeochemical cycling and nursery habitat. They provide us with socio-cultural values, and they are also key providers of sand on the tropical beaches, as a result of degradation of their limestone skeleton. What is coral bleaching? The ocean is one of the largest carbon sinks on the planet. When they absorb too much carbon from the atmosphere, this causes an increase in ocean acidification and also a rise in sea surface temperature. When the corals experience a lot of stress, for example through one of these stressors, one of the natural responses is to expel the zooxanthellae, and when there's a mass expulsion of zooxanthellae, that is called coral bleaching. It goes from colored corals to completely white, because the zooxanthellae is what provides the corals with their color.
The main reason coral bleaching is occurring is because of the global warming phenomenon. As many of you know, because of the large amount of greenhouse gas emissions over the last few years, the Earth has started to warm up, and this includes our oceans as well. This in turn causes the corals to become stressed and eventually could lead to coral bleaching. Another cause of coral bleaching is solar radiation. This entails that especially during the summer months, the shallow living corals can become exposed to photovoltaic and UV rays, and this can cause the coral to bleach. Fresh water is also a factor that can play a role in coral bleaching. Although it is rare, if there is a heavy rainfall or thunderstorm, coral can bleach because of such fast dilution and decrease of the level of salinity. The last cause we will be discussing is sedimentation. Activities such as coastal construction and land clearing can result in higher erosion rates. That can lead to increased sediment in the water, which can then disturb the natural process of photosynthesis.
Outside of advocating for policy changes regarding climate change and ocean resource use, here are some things we as global citizens can do to help slow coral bleaching. We can minimize fertilizer runoff from farmland by planting barrier crops around local rivers that run through the area. We can also wear environmentally friendly sunscreen, practice conscious swimming and diving tactics while out in the ocean, such as watching our step and not touching coral and other marine organisms. While boating, we can be wary of where we are anchoring and stay on sandy stretches of seafloor. And we can also participate in local coral farming to help grow more environmentally sturdy replacements for our damaged reefs.